Hi everybody, welcome to the dungeon. My name is Robin and today is Flameworking, another adventure in Boroland. Today I want to make buttons, and I know at least one of you have asked me about buttons. I think it might be Sonia, I'm not sure. Sometimes it's easier for me to work out an idea in the Boro glass. Since I've been working in Boro glass for the last few weeks, I thought it would be a perfect time to try out these buttons before I move them into the soft glass. That's what we're gonna do today, and I hope you enjoy this. Buttons are super cool. Not a lot of people think about making buttons out of glass, but it's a great idea, and I hope you all enjoy. And on that note, I hope you're all doing safe and well out there. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope to see you next time in the dungeon. I am going to start everything out by making a couple of hooks. I want to make as many of these as I can, so I'm going to make like 4 or 5 of them, just so I have some ready to go in case something goes wrong in the end. And all I'm doing here is pulling out just a little, kind of a thick string of Boro, just pulling it out slightly in the flame and then looping it around and pulling off that end and kind of making a little tiny loop like this. So I'll make several of those, and then when I'm ready, what I'm going to do is very gently punty them up, and then I'll be able to use them later on. So this is a good way to get your hook ready. All right, now we're going to start out with the button portion, and I have like a 8mm rod of Boro here, and I'm going to just get it super hot, start heating it up, and I'm looking for, I don't want this to be a huge button. Remember, you want it to be thin so it goes through a buttonhole, and so I'm just going to continue to heat this up and get a nice kind of football shape going, and then I want to press it down, and I'm going to put all of my color on the bottom of this, and the top part that the rod is hanging off of is the top right now. So I'm going to give this a little bit more heat and continue to press it down and get just a nice evenly shaped Maria. And I also want to make sure it's as close to being on center of the rod that I can get. All right, now we're going to go ahead and start adding our pattern. And this is the Momkas Sparkly Thunder. And all I did, this is a rod that comes with 2 colors. And there's 4 sections of the rod. And all I did was kind of pull and twist it out into a little twisty there. And I want a really simple pattern too. I don't want a lot going on with this button. So I thought I'd add a little bit of kind of these red dots here, but in the long run, you really didn't see them. So just to simplify things, the rest of the buttons that I made just had the spiral with the powder on it. So I'm going to just kind of pull this pattern up above the clear. I want everything to be underneath the clear, and just if you have to do any touch-ups, this is the time to do it. And then I'm going to start to press that down so it's nice and flat and even on the bottom again. And I'm just going to roll a little bit of the edge on my marver here and flatten it one more time. And then what I want to do is I found some powder. I found a few little 1-ounce bags of Butterscotch powder by Northstar, and I'm going to put that on the bottom of this. So you see how nice and shiny it looks. It's nice and flat and smooth. And I'm just going to press once for a few seconds into the butterscotch powder, and then I'm going to heat it up. And that's pretty much it for all of our color. I think buttons would look great with a frit bottom as well, or an implosion would look amazing. So once I have the color there, I'll continue to flatten and make it smooth looking. I'm going to punty it up here, and then we'll take off the top rod. Now what I didn't realize was this, because I was pressing on the button part, I was pushing the main rod further and further into the glass. So I'm trying to pull a little bit of it off here, but it still left a ring, kind of a deep impression of a ring in there that you can see. And literally it took me like 7 or 8 minutes just to melt this in. So the less of a impression you can get in your glass, the better, because then the less time you're going to be spending trying to heat it out. So once I have this all molten and looking nice, I'm going to flatten it a little bit in this a mold that I have here. It's a lentil shape, and it's a nice and wide shape so I can get a better profile on this button. And I'm just going to press it in there and just kind of help press it down a little bit and turn it, and that'll be my button. Now you can do all of the final shaping. You don't need to have a mold to press it into, but once you're done with your button shape, then we're going to very gently punty up here. I just need a little bit of help because I am super shaky today, and I'm just going to add that, try to get it centered. And then we'll go ahead and take the other side off. I'll spend a few minutes just kind of cleaning up the bottom. It doesn't, okay, you all know this. It's not perfect. I have only made a few of these, and what I decided to do is just try to pull off as much of the bottom as I could, and nobody's going to see it. So I don't know. I just decided I'd just heat it up as much as I could, flatten it a little bit, and go ahead and try this hook. Plus, flattening it here helps it to be a little bit thinner in the profile. All right, let's go ahead and add the hook here. It fell off my punty, so I had to grab it with my tweezers, and it doesn't go on perfectly here, but I'm going to take a minute to, kind of straighten things up. The Boro is really helpful when it comes to stuff like this. So by the time I have figured out where it needs to be and trying to, if you're not shaky, you'll be able to put this on much easier. That's all I have to say. But if you are shaky, just give yourself a minute to try to get it on center. And if it gets too small, the whole part, you can just easily open that up a little bit. Remember, only a little bit of thread needs to go through there anyway. And that's about it. I'm going to grab it with my tweezers, break it off, and smooth out the top, and we'll have our button. And on that note, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I am hoping to bring you another button, a better tutorial with the soft glass soon. All right, you guys, see you next time.